Hello, I'm Clara Longstreth, Music Director of New Amsterdam Singers. I want to talk about our upcoming concert. I will say a few words about the program in general and then concentrate on Aaron Copland, whose work in the beginning is the centerpiece of our concert. In 2020, I planned a program of American music with two old favorites of the mid-20th century, one the Copland and the other reincarnations by Samuel Barber, and with some new pieces by Dale Trumbore and Ronald Pereira, and we called it American Voices. 2 years passed during the pandemic, and when we saw that it was safe to sing again, I brought back much of the program we had had to postpone and added new material. In the interim of no rehearsals or concerts, I had spent 2 years researching music of Black composers. I found lots of music that I knew the chorus and audiences would love. Thus, the program now includes works by 3 Black composers, all Americans whose works have been underrepresented. One of these composers used a text from Leviticus, one used a poem by Paul Dunbar, a well-known Black poet, and one a poem by Langston Hughes. In this old and new program of American works, Aaron Copland's In the Beginning is the major piece, a work of about 17 minutes. It is a splendid vehicle for an adventurous chorus and has been performed and recorded many times. NAS performed it 5 times between 1980 and 2000. In 1980, we planned a full concert around Copland and called it A Tribute to Aaron Copland, an all-Copland concert in celebration of the composer's 80th year. And the composer attended, rewarding our efforts. We also sang his Lark, old American songs, Simple Gifts, and a soloist sang some of his Dickinson songs. A flutist and pianist, Elizabeth Rogers, played his duo. When I asked Mr. Copland what other chamber pieces he would like included, he said sextet, because it had not had enough performances. So we found a group of 6 instrumentalists to do it, but several weeks before the concert, they had to give up. The sextet was too hard to play. As we then learned, sextet had originally been the short symphony, and so difficult in that version that Copland had reworked it for a sextet, which evidently did not help. So we substituted Copland's clarinet concerto, written for Benny Goodman, and did its piano clarinet reduction. To continue with New Amsterdam Singers' history In the Beginning, in 1995, when we sang the work in New York City as a warm-up to taking it on tour, Anthony Tomasini came and wrote this in the New York Times. The work is striking and effective, as New Amsterdam Singers, led by music director Clara Longstreth, made clear. The difficulties are formidable. The solo mezzo-soprano part is wide-ranging, and the chorus must negotiate precipitous harmonic shifts. Yet for all its awkwardness, it is vivid music. When the text proclaims, "Let there be light," Copland piles on layers of skittish counterpoint. The music is almost crazed with wonder. The performance of the Copland, though not yet settled, was affecting. Close quote. Aaron Copland was born in Brooklyn, New York, to shop owner parents who had immigrated from Polish and Lithuanian parts of Russia. Neither parent was musically trained, but the son showed early interest in music. He managed to earn enough money to get to Paris in 1920 and eventually found the perfect teacher, Nadia Boulanger. He studied with her for 4 years and called her an intellectual Amazon. She called him her favorite student. He later named his Great Dane, Nadia, in her honor. Copland taught at Harvard in 1933 and 1944, and in 1947, the Department of Music commissioned him to write a choral work to be performed at the Harvard Symposium on Music Criticism. It was suggested that he use a Hebrew text, but he chose the English story of the creation from the King James Bible. The first performances of In the Beginning were in May 1947 at Harvard by the Collegiate Chorale, a New York City chorus, under Robert Shaw. Later that month, the same forces performed it at Carnegie Hall. Here are some reviews from those concerts. The Harvard Crimson wrote, Copland's In the Beginning was the most warmly received of the commissioned works. It is a simple piece. The writer must not have been a choral singer. A simple piece consisting largely of recitative choral chant and solos in arioso form, close quote. Howard Taubman in the New York Times wrote, "An exciting experience. Copland's writing has simplicity and tenderness. The obvious tricks of writing religious music are avoided, yet the sweetness and power of the biblical story are conveyed. Mr. Copland does not hesitate to use a jazz idiom," close quote. As one becomes familiar with In the Beginning, one's ear catches the repetition of some key phrases. A special example serves as a refrain organizing the week of the creation. The chorus sings, "And the evening and the morning were the first day." A few minutes later, the same phrase is heard in a new key for the second day, and so on through the 7 days. Another phrase that is repeated many times is a stentorian, "And it was so," usually loud and commanding, but sometimes softer in quick counterpoint. Finally, a word about word painting, a device composers take advantage of to illustrate in music the words they use. Tomasini and most other critics single out the creation of lights and the way Copland breaks the chorus into small units to repeat the word lights in jazzy syncopation. You will also hear rolling 6/8 rhythm for the passage about the ocean and some fast downward scales to illustrate creepy things. When the Bible says God created man in his own image, that proved an irresistible chance for Copland to use canonic repetition to reinforce the idea that man was like God. All my sources talked of Aaron Copland as a loyal friend, a champion of other composers, and full of fun. I came across an anecdote about Copland attending a performance of In the Beginning at Brown University. In his backstage pep talk to the chorus, he said, "The creation was quite a stunt, so make it grand. Don't be pathetic about it. What happened after creation is an entirely different story," close quote. I hope you come to the concert and enjoy this. Thanks.